श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। The mantra number 18th and 19th, they constitute the main topic of the Upanishads. And also, these two mantras give direct answer to Nachiketa's query. What is that which is beyond dharma, adharma, cause, effect, and three periods of time? We have already seen these two mantras. Here, our true Atma Swarupa is indicated. The one who realizes this, then that person is called a Mukta Purusha, liberated. But if we remain only identified with the body, mind, intellect complex, and only think that that alone is our identity, then of course the samsara continues. Wise man, even after realization, living the body and this world, still remains untouched by all good, bad, papa, punya, everything. I know that so many people are having many questions and doubts. I only would say that please listen to earlier talk again and have patience. As we proceed further, many points will be clarified. So now what we are discussing is how to realize the self, our own self, as it is. As far as that Atma Tattva is concerned, it is always what it is. In whichever way it may appear, but it is the same. But we have to know it. And that's why this mantra number 20th we just started. This Atma is Anoho Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guhayam. This Atma, this self, and again I repeat, this Atma is my own true self. This is what my identity is. Is in Buddhi Guha, the cave of the intellect or heart, now smaller than the smallest, subtler than the subtlest, and bigger than the biggest means what? You see, if you take a needle, and there is an eye of the needle. That hole, little hole, when you put a thread in that, which is very difficult job, if very little that what you call the hole is there. Eye of the needle in English they call it. In Sanskrit it's called mouth of the needle. And you know that so many people try to put the thread in that and they think it has gone in the hole, but it has gone outside only. But now you see, in that little hole, space is there or not? The space has entered there. So, can we say that space is smaller than that also? Subtler than that? Yeah, because it is there. But at the same time, bigger than the biggest, because the whole cosmos is existing in space. all the sapta urdhva loka, the higher world, lower world, the entire cosmos space. In that, everything is in that only, all the mountains and forests and oceans. So how big is the space? So when we say it is subtler than the subtle and bigger than the biggest, what really means, it is formless and it is all pervading. This is subtlety, means pervasiveness. Gurudeva's very favorite sentence used to say, the subtlety is measured in terms of its pervasiveness. So, pervades more. So this Atma is not a little tiny shining something there, but it is Chaitanya Swarupa, Anoho Aniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, and here as own self. Now it is said, Tam Akratuhu Pashyati. Who is able to see this Atma Tattva? Akratuhu. See, the Kratu word has got many meanings. One meaning is called Yajna also, Yajna Yaga, rituals we conduct. But any ritual is conducted only when a desire is there. Even the desire arises because of first some thought arises in the mind. That's called as Sankalpa. So Kratu means a Sankalpa, Kratu means a desire, Kratu is also Yajna. Now, idea here is, the person who has all the time desire for the objects of the external world, of this world or other world, where his attention will be? Naturally, his attention will be outside. So, if you see outside, only your outside things only will see. How will you see this self which is in your own heart? Akratu Pashyati. The one who has risen above all desires for all material things. And that's why in the first section we found Nachiketa, who became Akratu. Maharahadaha eva akshobhyaha. He was unmoved by all those pleasures. But if we have got desire only for outside things, mind will be only extrovert. Naturally. How will you see that? So the one who gives up desires for external things and say, I want to know this self only. So the mind is then turned inward. Akratu Pashyati. So the qualification pointed out. First of all, where is this Atma Tattva? In your own heart. How it is? All pervading, infinite it is. If it is infinite, then why it is said in your heart? Because if you just go on seeing outside things, you will keep on seeing. To turn your mind's attention from outside and turn here, and once you recognize it is as your own self, then it doesn't matter whether your eyes are open or closed, you will see that everywhere. But now you must turn that attention here to see as it is. Who can see is Akratuhu. Then also Dhatu Prasadat. Prasad here is called the purity. Purity of the dhatus. Dhatus means for generally those factors which sustain this body and all our activities. So all our senses also called dhatu. Also all our in the body, asthi, mamsa ityadi, bones and all that also called dhatus. They are there, one thing. But more important here is the purity of our senses, mind. Now purity of mind is indicated by akratuhu. When the mind is free from worldly desires, it is then pure. Now, how to make our senses purified? Continuously go on washing the eyes and put something in the ear. here, purification of senses means without any personal likes and dislikes, to see the world of objects and also see those objects which are conducive for your making your mind turn towards the self. That is called purity. Purity also means the senses must be under your control. And I am not telling this meaning just from my head. You read the Gita, it says, Atma Vashyaihi, Raga Dvesha Viyuktaihi. That's what Bhagavan has said in the Bhagavad Gita. When our mind is free from our personal Raga Dvesha and the senses are under our control, that itself is called the purity of the senses. And with such senses and such desireless mind, it is possible to see the self. Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guhayam, Tam Akratuhu Pashyati. Now here the Pashyati word also must be understood. Even though the literal meaning of what Pashyati, what is seeing. And with our eyes, we see only the color and form and other those things. But here Atma Tattva, it is said, how are you going to see with the eyes and all that? Pashyati here means recognizes, realizes this self, that this is me. Jnana drishti it is. By this knowledge that this Atma, I am not, it is an object because I am the seer. Anything other than the seer will become seen. So here the seer is not seen as an object but recognized as the self. And then what happens is, Pashyati dhatu prasadat mahimanam atmana. The glory of the self, this Paramatma Tattva he says. And what is that glory? Further we also will see, in the next mantra also we will see, this most wonderful, glorious, about which earlier it was said Ashcharyam only, that this Atma Tattva, glory of your own self, and the result of it will be Vita Shokaha. Visheshana itaha shokaha yasmat. So Vita Shokaha. That person from whose mind the sorrow, the grief, stress, tensions and anxieties, they have gone for good. Visheshanita, not temporarily. So here, everything is pointed out. By saying akratuhu dhatu prasada, adhikari is pointed out, yogya adhikari, who is a qualified student. By saying anoraniyan, mahato mahiyan and hridayastha, the very vishaya, how atma tattva, atma is the vishaya subject matter of this. And how it is seen, that also is indicated. And by that recognition, the result is what? Mahimanam atmanaha vivita shokaha. Phalam also pointed out. What we call in the very beginning, Anubandha Chatushtayam. Student, subject matter, the result, and the sambandha. Only as you know it, all sorrow gone. Relationship is by this knowledge. This knowledge is the means for achieving the greatest result of life. This is a very beautiful mantra. And of course, we have to think more and more on that. So first what only we just read a mantra, then we try to understand what is the literal meaning of that. Then we understand what is the implied meaning, what is the implication of that. And then directly should be able to see, yes, no doubt then. This is called Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Directly seeing the meaning. Afterwards, there is no need of referring to this, referring to that you know it for yourself. And now what was said, Mahimanam Atmanaha, the glory of the self. What is this Atma Tattvam? It is so very beautifully said in the next mantra. And this is glory of your own self. How many times I will repeat that? You may get bored, you may get angry with me, or you may get tired listening to that, but this is the most important thing. Otherwise, all the time we think, there is Atma like that. That knowledge will not be helpful, that knowledge will not liberate you. Only when it is known as our own self. Now see the glory. Asino duram vrajati shayano yati sarvataha kastam madamadam devam madanyo jnatum arhati. Not Dharmaraj says here, this Atma is what? Asinaha duram vrajati, sitting at one place, duram vrajati, goes far. Sthiraha, nishchalaha, achalaha, goes far. And shayano yati sarvataha, and while sleeping, goes everywhere. But just now you said, Atma is already all pervading, so where is the question of going and sitting? Very strange. Asino duram vrajati, shayano yati sarvataha, kastam madam devam madanyo jnatum harati. This sentence is very peculiar where Yamaraj is saying, who can know this Atma other than me? Acha. Madanyaha, other than me, kaha jnatum harati, who can know this Atma? Tam devam, devam means Chaitanya Surupa Atma Deva it is. Dev, what we had seen earlier also. This Chaitanya Atma. How is this Atma? Madamadam. Madamadam. Mada and Amada. It is with both. Who can know this Atma? Or he says, other than me. This sentence sounds very arrogant type. We'll try to see the meaning actually then. But now, when we read such mantras, see, if someone knows Sanskrit grammar, meaning is very simple because the Sanskrit language is very simple here. But only on the basis of grammar, we cannot understand this meaning. Somebody may say, I don't know, he was all right, while speaking, because sitting goes far, sleeping goes everywhere. And who is with mother, with amada. And, I had read long time back, some Western philosopher happened to read some Upanishad like this. And what he said, this is like blabbering of humanity in its early childhood. Because then you understand, blabbering. So first I did not like what he said. But then I thought, a child goes on blabbering. But the mother understands the meaning or not? Understand? Of course I understand. The child cries. In crying also, the different kinds of cries are there. The mother understands. That means what? You must have mother's heart to understand this. And who can give that mother's heart? Only by your guru. That's why guru is required. Otherwise, if you don't understand what is said there. Now we should know, as far as Atma Tattva is, it is infinite, not bound by time, space, cause, effect, all pervading. Where is question of sitting and going far and sleeping, going far everywhere? That's why vrajati eva. Shano yati eva. As tu goes everywhere, as tu goes far. Now, for example, we are sitting physically at one place. But are we there mentally all the time? I want to know where is your mind. So even though physically sitting, but the mind has gone far, right? And if mind has, means your thoughts have gone far. And can the thoughts go away far without consciousness? Can it go? No. So now, when I am physically sitting here, consciousness is here, the physically, in my body, so I am here. But when my mind goes somewhere else, so it appears consciousness is here when the body is sitting here and the mind is sitting here. Mind thinks of far, then as though the consciousness is going there. Because without that support, mind cannot go anywhere. Shayano yati sarvataha. Now see, as long as you are in waking state, or even in dream, our body is functioning, in dream, or this body is not functioning, but there another body, mind. So at that time, a locus is there. So when the body says, I am here, this feeling comes. But what is sleep? Sleep is when our mind completely withdrawn from the body and also from the mind and all the senses, then there is no conditioning for that Atma. This feeling cannot be there, I am here or I am there. So then he says, as it were, Atma gone everywhere. In waking state, somebody asks you, where are you? You can say, here you are. Then you go to bed to sleep. Then say, where are you? I am in a bed. But once you are gone into sleep, where you are? So, Samanya Jnana Chaitanya Rupa is there without any such kind of conditioning. So, as it were, then Atma is gone everywhere. Or sometimes, from relative standpoint also we understand, a person is sitting in the car and the car is moving. He can say, sitting, I went far. You were not walking, you were not doing anything. But because the car was moving, so I am conditioned by that car. So the movement of the car is superimposed on him and he went far. What goes far is our body, our mind, our thoughts. But then it appears the Atma is gone. Even though we directly do not say Atma gone, we use the word I only. And my thoughts when I went there only. Guruji, your lecture was so wonderful. My mind was only gone immediately somewhere else. Lucky it did not go to sleep. Mind can go anywhere. Asino duram brayati, shayano yati sarvataha, kastam madamadam devam. Kaha, who can know this Atma Deva, Chaitanya, Mada and Amada? Shankaracharya says, Samadaha, Amadaha. Mada means joy. Amadaha means no joy, there is sorrow. What does it mean? See, Mada is a kind of pride. And it gives a joy. Do you know, I heard that there are some books, in which how many kinds of the mothers are pointed out which gives pleasure to a person. And that you can see that looking into mirror, everybody wants to see. I am beautiful, I am strong, and those who bodybuilder, looking also. Or those who got long hair and they play tabla. They feel so good at hair. I cannot show that anyway. But I tell you, when the bald man also has pride, because he says, I can put an egg also on my head without that egg falling, What madam can be there? Rich man has got that joy. Shankaracharya only said, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam. Dhana jana yauvanam. But of that also, how many kinds that yauvana can be there, garva, of youth. So when people see all that, and they feel very happy. Some desire is fulfilled. Harsha is there. Or aharsha, dukkham also there. Now just see, this what we call as joy and sorrow, they are thoughts in our mind or not. And both are illuminated by this consciousness or not. Just see, when a thought of happiness arises in the mind, I am conscious of that thought or not? Yes. And then identify with that, I say, I am happy. Actually, happiness, that thought is of the thought of the mind. I am very unhappy. But that I am as consciousness is there with that thought also, this thought also. Now, even though it is mother and amada only pointed out, but all pairs are opposites you can see. I understand, I don't understand. I am peaceful, I am restless. I am conscious of that. So the consciousness is there with that one. But itself is what actually above both. Yeah. With the thought of happiness it is there. With the thought of no happiness, sorrow also it is there. Sitting goes far, sleeping goes everywhere. Now this Atma Mahima, these are Mahima of Atma. I have been giving you the example of that electricity. You must have seen at decoration time, so many garlands of the series of little bulbs also made, of different colors. And the blinking also. One opens up, one that lights up, and one that switches up, and that. So electricity is there with all of them. But it is actually free from all those colors or not. And a bulb which is only zero power of that watt. One is 40, 60, 100, 1000. With everything it is there. But with everything and still untouched by that. Asino duram reti, shayano yati sarvataha, kastam madam madam devam madanyot nyatumarhati. Who can know this Atma other than me? One meaning is, other than a person like me, because to know this Atma is very special quality is required. But more of it I will tell you tomorrow. Because this sentence sounds very arrogant type, who can know that? But if someone has got arrogance, he cannot become Brahma Vidya, even student, what to talk of Acharya. So, it is a very different meaning, we'll see. Om पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि